looks like that we might have gone live. It's always a positive feature of my life when things go to plan. Let me just have a caboodle with the rest of it. Oops, let's just do that. There we are. Click into that, go to that. There we are. Okay, hi Faith. Hello my darling. For whatever reason Facebook isn't letting me share from this page, so if you wouldn't mind sharing it to my page, that would be amazing. It's probably because it's gone live from the event, so people need to click into the event to see it, which may not work. So if anyone who is on could share it to my page, that would be much appreciated. It's clearly not letting me share and film at the same time, so there we are. That's just live. I'll share it after the live. It's always difficult. Set up an event to remind people, let people know what you're doing is cool, but it's not then so easy to share it. I can share it afterwards though, so that's cool. Hi Sue, thank you for joining us on this beautiful sunny day. I do hope it's not too hot for everyone, because that wouldn't be very cool, would it? Oh dear, black everywhere, which we don't want it. Could you either of you please confirm that you can hear me, so that I'm not just whittering to myself, because that's always an interesting thought process if we're whittering off to ourselves. So I have a plain wooden box. There we are. Let's get it round the right way. Comes so, like that. And I've done a little bit of prep because, well, we can all put white paint on things and we can always put black paint on things. I have masked with just some masking tape around the top of my box and around the bottom of the box, because that's going to make my life a lot easier. And we're just going to talk about how to mix and match your products today, because I think we can all get caught up in the treadmill of buying more and more and more, and then just thinking maybe I can only use one company's papers or products with with their own things. And actually the reality of life is how you use your products is entirely up to you. Every company would like you just to use their products, because then clearly you're buying more of their products, but that's not how crafters work. We all see things and we all like go, oh, I really like that, and then we end up with a large quantity of stuff to deal with, which is always, it's all cool, isn't it, really? Let me just find a brush. But I'm not going to cream cracker. Alright, okie dokie. Well, maybe then we will cream cracker a new one. Why not? Why not? Why not? There we are. There we go. That one's a moderately cream crackered one already. Good evening, Julie, or afternoon, Julie. So it's beautifully warm. The heat's out of my conservatory. My lovely husband opened the doors about an hour ago when I got back from the craft fair at Lee, and I have a large piece of resin. Comes from one of the Anthony's collections from Stamperia. I think it might have been Songs of the Sea, but it might have been the one before that, Magic Forest. And this is a big mould that comes with 4 different corner moulds, making it really quite useful for making things with. So I've cast this in white quickset resin. It's not particularly even, that doesn't worry me, and I've given it a coat with black gesso. And my rationale, because you don't very often see me priming with black gesso, is that I am going to use a metallic system over the top of it, and metallics definitely pop better when they're over a black base. Strange, but unfortunately very true. So we've got Stamperia mould, we've got Pentart, amazing casting resin for my resin, and we've got Pentart primer paste, which is a nice thick primer, but you could use any black gesso, but you definitely want a black gesso for that. And this is actually a product from Leblanc, but it's the same as the deluxe paste from Pentart, but many of you might have bought this when Leblanc was on the telly box, called Luxus paste, but it is actually the same project as the Bordeaux deluxe paste with the gold sparkles in it. So, you know, just be aware that many companies actually make for other companies, and so it's quite easy to get, you know, to find that actually you're buying two of the same product. I was aware, because at the time I bought the Leblanc ones, actually Pentart didn't have this. It was about 6 months before they brought this colour out, and I love it. But I've got this one, so that's what we're going to use. There we are, and we're just going to pop that into here, get rid of that onto there. The deluxe paste and the Luxus tend to separate out a little bit, and so you just do need to give them a stir. And I've got a brush that I'm not too precious at, because I want to get this beautiful Bordeaux red into all of the nooks and the crannies of this very, very detailed mould. There we are. I don't want thick globs of it stuck in the holes, because it will take forever and a month of Sundays to dry, and whilst that's an option, it's maybe not the best of options. There we are. So let's just get that into all the nooks and the crannies. It's typical, isn't it? We've missed a bit of black there, but there we are. I'll give this a good coverage of this, and you can add 2 layers if you want. You see that, you know, one dip of my brush has covered about a third of, you know, probably just under a quarter of that mould, and it's a substantial mould. It's 6-7 inches by about 4 inches. Fabulous focal piece, would look lovely on the top of a cabinet. And things, so lots of uses for it. Perhaps a bit big for your average scrapbooking project, but would look nice as a standalone piece on the front of a journal cover maybe, without very much else in the background. So there we are. Let's just lift out from the nooks and the crannies. I don't want to cover all of that detail. So who's joining us? Hi Elaine, welcome. Hi Joan. Yeah, I'm not expecting huge numbers of people to be watching today, partly because it's a beautiful day, partly because, you know, it's just life, and, you know, most of us have got better things to be doing, but I do like to keep people company who might otherwise be on their own, and that's my sole motivation really for doing these, is to keep people company if they might be on their own. And hopefully add a little bit of joy or entertainment into an afternoon. I've got the doors open on my conservatory, so it's nice, got a nice breeze coming through. So yeah, this is always going to be very difficult, isn't it? Because wet products, shiny days, you know, it's always going to be a bit of a headache for showing the real colours. But hey ho, well, once the shine has gone out of the wet paint, we should hopefully be able to see things a little bit better. There we are. Let's just get rid of the excess paint there. So I'm using this as a paint. It's described as a paste, and it will go through stencils beautifully, but you know, you need to think outside the box, and just because it's labelled as a paint does definitely not mean that that's just how you have to use it. Yeah, sometimes, yeah, it will work perfectly well as a paint, and it will stick to unprimed glass. But as I say, if you're covering a white surface, then it takes a few layers to build opacity up, whereas if you pop it onto a black surface, you don't need to build the layers. One coat will work perfectly well. So let's just grab that into there. Okay, so that's quite cool. So that can sit there onto that. I'm definitely not in a swimming pool. Would be nice. I like being in a swimming pool. Okay, I haven't ventured near a swimming pool. So this is the box lid, and there we are. And this is exactly why I put the masking tape on to here. But having injured my foot by almost going through and through the side, in the sole and out the other side, an upturned plug prong. I haven't been in a pool for a week, and I miss it. I love being in swimming pools. So this will add a little bit of the Bordeaux colour with just a little bit of sparkle from that, and I can build the colour up if I want to. So there we are. So that's the starting point for there. Oops. And while we're at it, we'll upturn the bottom of the box. Pop that over there. Over here. It's not going to take forever to dry in this, is it, really? There we are. And pop that there. There we are. I do have friends, there are people in the garden next door playing. I think they're having a barbecue. They've got quite some adult children, and they've got a small child as well. So it sounds like they're having fun. So maybe that's why it sounds like I might be at the beach. I think they're kicking footballs and balls around. So there we are. So why did I choose this particular colour? Wow. I had I was a bit short of mojo yesterday, and I was thinking about cancelling the live, and then I thought, didn't do it last week because of injured foot. We'll not go live today, and the big resin piece has been cast for a while because it is a big piece, and I just need to think about what I was going to do for it. And then I thought, box coverage. Boxes are a challenge because they've got a lot of surface, and quite a lot of our rice papers are bought as A4, and single A4 is definitely not enough to cover. And worse than that, the other thing that we tend to do is we tend to buy our rice papers in with all focal imagery, which is also cool if you want to make lots of canvases, but maybe it's not so cool if you are needing to cover something. And then I went to my stash, and did I have A3 rice papers? Well, I did, but not very many of them. So I thought about that and thought, this must be a problem for others too. And even companies, I'm just looking for my wipes that are out of the way. Even the companies that produce lots of rice papers, they often sell them in multi-packs. So ITD do packs of 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 rice papers, and they're beautiful. I'm not going to say they're not beautiful. But again, one of those is not enough for a single project. But they do, even within one pack, they are in colour family. So that set my brain to working. Because if you've got a colour family, then you can take products across lots of different ranges and patterns from different things and put them together and make a whole piece. So that was where my brain was going with this make today. So it's maybe not pretty, but it will produce you a functional piece, and not everyone actually wants pretty. They want nice and elegant. So that's where my brain was going. So let me just give these a little blast dry, because that's what's needed before I can do anything else. And the joy of the Lux's paste, or the deluxe paste, depending on whether you've got it from Leblanche via Creative Craft or from Pentart, via any of the Pentart suppliers, is that it really won't take very long to dry. Yeah, that's pretty dry. Just need the edges to be a bit more dry. So that makes life a bit easy for everyone. So there we are. So let's just take that, pop that over there. That can go on the surface. And let's just pop this one onto here. There we are. And now I can remove my masking tape, and hopefully I've got a nice edge. Not bad, not bad. That will do, and that can be reused. So let's just pop that over there. Okay. I want my box to have a contrast to the inside, so I have picked beige, and the reason I've picked the beige is inside I am using, well, the plan is I'm going to use these two rice papers, and I think the beige will work really nicely with it. My foot is healing nicely, but it will take a wee while to do that. So the wooden box was primed with white acrylic primer, so that will work nicely, and I could put some more masking tape around the tops, but hey ho, who's gonna worry about that for the moment. Let's just take off the worst of that, and then we'll carry on and paint this. And if I'm careful, we won't have too big a pickle and too much going on to the red. I can always put the masking tape back on and go back over if I need to later on, but that's also fine. So there we are. So masking tape the edges or not, depending on your preference. I'm happy that I can do this without making too much of a mess, and I can always go back over anyway if I want to. So there we are. Let's just pop these in, and I know that I am putting the beige over, and that's fine. So my papers will be a little bit darker than they might otherwise be, and that's fine because that I think will work nicely with the as a contrast to the darker colours I'm putting on the outside, and hopefully will mean people can see what they've put in it. So let's just pop these onto here. Nothing is going to take a silly amount of time, I think, to dry today, which is cool. It always makes life better. There we are. I also wanted to do something completely different today. I'm doing a busted canvas on my Pentart Live, which is very much a mixed paper craft, mixed media piece. I've seen, it may just be me that's seen a lot in my Facebook feed, but there's a lady called Crafty with Tesh or something like that, who has reinvented or resurrected the technique from the past, and there's lots of people making them at the moment, and lots of people commenting about how to do it. So not bad. So I just thought, having made, because I posted one that I did, it's a technique I did first many years ago, so I just get rid of that. So I just thought it would be quite good to help people, because as I say, lots of people have been asking how to do it, and there are a few videos out there, but yeah, maybe not ones that people have seen. So that's the plan for Tuesday. So I wanted to do something today that was completely different. I did think about doing my Ciao Bella house, but it was taking me forever yesterday to fussy cut out everything. So that will wait for another day. I might do it in the week as an impromptu live. There we are. So that can go over there. Hopefully. That one can go over there. Oh dear, you see, and now look what I've got. It's not what I wanted. That's because I had that's clearly because I had that on the base, on the top when I was working, but hey ho, my bad. There we are. Let's see if we can get that to cover. We will get it to cover, you see. There we are. There we are. Let me move that into there. Move my camera setup back to my normal one, because I swap it to something different when I'm using StreamYard for the Pentart lives. And for the last few weeks I haven't swapped the camera position over. I have just literally left it the same. But there we are. So let's just put a layer of this into here. You can pick up boxes relatively cheaply, can't you? From lots, the works quite often have wooden boxes in, so I think that's quite a good place to go. The joy of moving my camera is that it means that you're less likely to end up seasick, because I'm far less likely to end up bashing it because it's well above my head level. When I'm using StreamYard, it's down at a much lower level. So it's very exhilarating, I know, watching people painting, but it's just a necessary part of making live. So but hopefully, apart from the fact that I've had to think about what I was going to do and cast the resin, you'll be able to see that actually it doesn't take very long to make boxes, and boxes make great environmentally friendly gift wrapping, because they can then be used by the recipient instead of being put in the rubbish bin, and of course they can hold lots of different things. So the title for this very much came from the ricepaper title, vintage tapestry, and creating a box means that you can pop all sorts in it, doesn't it? Let's just smooth that over. Now, typically I would put 1 or 2 layers of this. It's a pale paint, and sand down in between, but we'll not bother with that on live. But if you're uber finicky about having perfect finishes, then that's the way to do it. There we are. And I'm not going to, let's get that black out of there, and then we can pop that into there. So as I say, we're not making anything that's uber difficult, because it's too hot to be messing about for too long. Cool. That's definitely going to need a second coat on the lid inside, so let's just pop that over there for safekeeping. Give this a little blast dry, and then we'll pick up that again. And if you try and layer onto wet paint, all that will happen is that you'll move the layer below about, and that won't be helping matters either. So let's just then add a second coat to even it out. So in spite of the fact that I had a nice layer of acrylic primer on there, I'm still going to add that second low to give that beige paint some solidity. I can still see the white through. A bit patchy, so let's just make this look nice. If you're going to do it, you might as well do it properly, I guess, mightn't you, really? There we are. Sorry about the sniffing, that wasn't very polite or very nice of me. There we are. the second coat will definitely give this a more even appearance overall. There we are. Let's get rid of that dreaded piece of black. Gets everywhere, doesn't it? It really does. I think that will give me a much nicer, much more even finish by the time I've done this. And we'll do the same on the inside. And you could add velvet powder quite happily to this if you wanted to. That would give a nice finish and would be quite helpful. Don't know if anyone has any questions thus far as to what they want to ask, or just too quiet because you're quietly watching, or I've sent you all off to sleep. Any or all of those are perfectly reasonable thought processes, particularly on a day like today. So it's interesting because on screen this really doesn't look as if it's very patchy, but actually in front of me it definitely is. So yeah, you just need to be aware of that. There we are. Let's just give this another cut. You're awake, thank you, Faith. Let's just get rid of that lump of paint. There we are. I don't think the live overall today is going to take me ages because it's not very complicated in its whole approach. But then you don't have to have makes that are always very complicated. And I know horror of horrors for me, you know, I've not adding 55,000 layers. I know, almost unheard of, isn't it, for me not to add lots of layers, but we're not, because I don't think it's actually necessary, and certainly not for this type of project. There we are. So as I say, I've chosen colours that will work because they're tonally correct for the papers that I've chosen, and that is the key when you're mixing and matching across your ranges. Is to pick colours that work. That sounds like a very pleasant thing to be doing, Julie, watching and watching it in the garden. There we are. So let's just add that there onto there. There we are. That's reasonably covered. Cool. Okay, so that can go in there, and we will wipe and then lid down this book. Oh, very practical, Elaine. Very practical. Yeah, I sometimes have my computer on and watch and craft at the same time, and then my brain drifts off elsewhere, and I either spend my time watching the live or crafting and forgetting about the live because I'm hopeless. I know I'm hopeless. So there we are. Let's just give these, actually let's just move that out of harm's way for the moment, and let's give this a blast dry. So I guess the obvious thing now to do with this piece, apart from the fact I need to give it a colour, would be to add waxes over the top of it to highlight the detail. But actually I haven't got any any waxes out. I could grab them easy enough, but that's not the plan. My plan is to make this piece look as if it's been almost gold leafed, and then everything on the surface has come off, leaving the base colour. So it's going to give it a vintage effect with the base colour showing through. but this piece would absolutely look stunning in a dark colour, just in this dark colour with just some gold wax highlighting it, or even some antique gold wax highlighting it. So let me just now let this cool down, because I've got it on hot and I don't want to cook. So I've got it out now, one of the products from Pentart from their Christmas release. Let's just clear that, and we'll take a clean one of these. So this is the gold shimmer paste. There we are. Let's just take a big blob out of there, and we'll just whizzle it into all of those nooks and the crannies around here. And I think this is a product that I was really sceptical about when Pentart brought it out. Well, it's not really me, how I'm going to use it. Can use it through a stencil, it looks beautiful through a stencil, but I'm not an uber big stencil girl. What am I going to do? And then, so I've started using it as I would any of my antiquing gels to add, but it doesn't lift off quite as well as the antiquing gels, because that's not what it's intended to do, and that's fair enough, isn't it? But it does leave a very beautiful effect. So it is, again, it's permanent. What? It's dry. Yes, Julie. What? No wax. So there we are. If I lift this up, and then I'm going to give it a jolly good wipe, because I won't need the wax. I promise you, I will not need the wax, because we'll have all of the detail shown, but the reverse way round. There we are. So it really does show everything up. There we are. Let's just take some more of that. And the key to this technique is to use an old scrubby brush and really get it into all of the nooks and the crannies, because if you don't, it just doesn't work as well. But you don't want to leave big clumps in some of the nooks and the crannies either. So there we are. So I'm going to pull out some of that. There we are. We'll do it segment at a time. That can go into there. It is a beautiful, beautiful effect, and as I say, it's just a different effect, and I can work. The Luxus paste is really quite robust, so I can really scrub at this now, and to take it off the top layer. And you do need to change your wipes around, so because otherwise you just end up smearing the same stuff over everything, rather than lifting off. And I simply couldn't get into every nook and the cranny of here, and that's fine, because the cleaning cloth wouldn't have got into every nook and the cranny either. So that it's really beginning to take this from a piece that looks almost flat, just gives so much more detail in the process, and highlights out all of those details. So to me, it's absolutely worth it. There we are. And again, it's a product that again will dry quite quickly, which again is always helpful for crafters who maybe are a little impatient and who don't want to be waiting forever for stuff to dry. There we are. do want it in all of the nooks and the crannies, but as I say, I don't want big lumps in the nooks and the crannies because it'll take forever to dry. There we are. We might treat ourselves to another one of these in a minute, another baby wipe. Let's get a piece that's clean. And I am rubbing on the surface really reasonably firmly to take the stuff off. If you were going to do this with ordinary paint, which you absolutely can, my advice would be to use the Bourdon, which is the red, and then varnish it to seal it. Now, ladies, you might end up with me frozen. I think my computer has got a circling of doom on it. My phone currently shows that we're streaming, so if there's a problem, I apologise. Right, there we are. Let's just take the rest of that out of there, and let's finish this piece off. Into all of those nooks and the crannies. And then I can give that lid a clean. And you can see where it's drying, how it's going from being very milky to really being a beautiful gold colour, and it tells you how quickly it is and actually how thin a layer I've got on here, which is cool. So you're not, although you're wiping off product, you're not using masses and masses and masses. So let me take this one off here. Good evening, Liz, or good afternoon, Liz, even. I might just need to get a clean baby wipe at this point. There we are, we will grab a clean baby wipe. There we are. That will help lift that off the top, off there. Let's just give the dried area a little bit more of a wipe. So in effect I've reverse waxed, haven't I? Because I've got all of the wax, all of the paste in the depths and the nooks and the crannies of here. Right, so my pot doesn't stick together when I close it, I'm just going to be very wasteful and give this a good clean, because otherwise it'll be spot welded together next time I go to it, which is all very well and good, but maybe not so very helpful. There we are. There we are. And let's just wipe top of that. Surface should be dry. Let's knock that down into the pot. Hopefully that can go into there. Right, now I've got little icky sticky hands, and the other advantage of this make is it shows that you don't need to have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of colours or products. You just need to have products that you love that will do the job. Because if you dry brushed the shimmer glaze over, in effect it would look like you'd waxed it. So there we are. Right, excellent. Pop that over there. Let's pop that there. That's the back, that's the front. Why is that important? Well, it's probably not, to be fair, but hey-ho, not for this piece. Right, let us measure the inside of here and cut that piece of paper to size. So you are 22.5, that's a nice measurement for a change, by, you see, 12.6. Yeah, really helpful, isn't it? So one of the issues with the ITD rice papers, which I love, is inconveniently they are an A4 sheet. That's fine. So why is that inconvenient? Well, it's an A4 sheet with a border around the image. So that's not very helpful, is it? Because your image, therefore, is less than A4. So that's not the world's most helpful. Oops, that's secret squirrel colours over there, so we'll hide that. So the first thing I need to do is line that up, and I'm using my trimmer because I can see where the cutting channel is quite happily. So I can line the edge of the print up with the cutting channel. So that makes life easy. And it means I get a straight line as opposed to a hang-up wibbly wobbly line. Thank you very much, Faith. That is lovely for you to say that. There we are. So 22.5. There we are. We'll pop that into there. And I want this bit because it's darker. So 22.5. There we are. I'll pop that into there. Nice straight line. So you hear people absolutely saying you have to, you need to have, water cut everything when you're using rice papers. It totally depends on what you're going to do with them. So don't be bamboozled by people saying you have to do, because you don't. If it suits you and the project that you're making, then better, then get your trimmer out, get a pair of scissors. Oh, I absolutely have a brain like you, Faith. I would have forgotten by the time we got to it. So I'm just going to use the matte decoupage glue and varnish. I've got enough sparkle as far as I'm concerned on the outside of my project, but there is a beautiful glitter varnish that adds just the most little subtle shimmer. And for those of you who like a bigger area of bling, then the Mod Podge dishwasher proof gold and silver glitter isn't glitter at all. It's little flakes, and I haven't got a sample because they went off to Sally Telly for Friday of last week, but they really do give a beautiful effect, and there's several examples of it on my page. So there we are. So now we've got a nice layer of that in there, and we can feed that hopefully into there, close that down. Not bad. There we are. So now we can add a layer of varnish. I've got matte paint, so it makes sense to me for the inside to have matte. And I can add the other one, the more all over solid colour to the inside of the bottom of the box if I want to. I might just not. I might just leave it as the top. But this box will have taken 4 of the 10 rice papers in that pack. There we are. We're just going to add that. And we can add a proper layer of alternative varnish if you want, but this does provide a protective layer, seals it all in. Just make sure that you've got a nice layer and that you have covered everything. A good friend of mine says, put 2 layers on, because that way if you've missed with the first layer, it's highly unlikely that you'll miss a bit with the second layer. And if you're using antiquing gels, which we're not going to today, then you'll make sure that your paper stays looking pretty. There we are. So let's just add, because we've got there of glue, there of that varnish all the way around. Make sure we haven't got any blobs. It will dry clear. There we are. So that is now the inside of our box. Is it upside down? Possibly. Does it matter? Not at all, because it's in the eye of the beholder. There we are. So that's going to go on like that, and that the box will open up. There we are. We'll pop that over there. Right, we're not going to put that pot in the water. We're going to clear that up, and then we've got a bit of mixy matchy to do. Good evening, Elizabeth. Oh, good afternoon, morning. Sorry, Elaine. I do apologise. Right, there we are. So let's just take this. They're just fabulous quality products. Do I use others? Yeah, I do. But they are my go-to. There we are. Let's just take that off around there. That can go onto there. I'm just going to take a little sanding block. The Luxus paper is definitely textured. Those bits won't matter. If you're finicky, you can paint those off. Right, let's just give that now a little bit of a white to get rid of the dust. I know how I have lumps. So I'm not going to, this is just acrylic primer on here. I could add white paint over here, but I've got quite dark white papers, so I'm not worried about that colour popping. So, how am I going to sort out my assorted rice papers that I've got? So, first headache to explain is that this rice paper is beautiful. It's definitely a rice paper that needs to be used in portrait mode because it's got birds on it and it's reversed. So that can't be used, in my personal opinion, that way. Although I could use the central bit of it, I guess, because the birds don't fly on their side. So I'm going to use this piece for the sides of my boxes, and I can mirror it because I've got mirror images. So that's the logic for there. I've then got this piece, which I'm tempted to use for the top of the box, because it's going to look like that. So that's option 1, ladies. So put that on the top with that, and this one on the side, because I don't mind the stripes being horizontal. Or we can put that on the top with this piece, and this on the sides. So Faith, which is the yes to? Which one do you want? The first option, which was that on the top, or this one on the top? I shall wait and let you make a decision. Whilst you're making decisions about the tops, I can measure the sides and we'll cut our side pieces. So this is what I meant by, you need lots of rice papers to cover a box. Stripes on the side for you. That was my first instinct, so that's good. So that is 14.2, and I've got a curve here inconveniently, but that's fine, that's sandable long term. So 14.2 by 7. We're going to cut it to 8 centimetres. Second makes it more masculine. Can I show you again? Yes, we can show you again. Have I forgotten what the measurements already? Yes. So option, that was the second option on the top. Thank you, Faith. that on the sides. That on the top, this on the sides. We'll carry on. Right, so Faith's very kindly given me those measurements. Not that I don't trust you, because you're absolutely right. So I can now pop that out the way, pop that over there, clear the sandy mess that I've got on there, because the shimmer glazes have got a grittiness to them. And we'll do the sides. So that might prove a little bit of a challenge to get these reasonably symmetrical, but hey ho. So let's just pop that onto my trimmer and get rid of that end, the white. Like the stripes on it, a bit fussy the other way. That's absolutely fine. So that's 2 for the stripes on the top, 1 for the other. Makes no difference to me. So 8 centimetres. 8 centimetres. Let's just re-straighten you up. We didn't quite get you in properly. There we are. 8 centimetres. There we are. So let's just do that and that. And as I say, because these, that's the front, so I can pop that into there. 14.7, so I can centralise that reasonably well, and then I can get it dry while we're cutting the other size pieces. And yeah, that's my OCD, but I'm hoping that by, you can show that if you think about it, you can mix and match. So for me, I would either do alternate sides the same, which is what I'm doing here, because that makes sense to my brain. Doesn't take much for my brain to make sense. Yeah, okay. There we are. I will have to file off those edges, and that's fine. Let's pop that onto there. That can go there. That can go round to there for the moment. Let's set ourselves a challenge. Why not? Because challenges are good, aren't they? Yeah, why not, why not, why not? So I say, when I'm mix and matching, my suggestion is that you use one for the top, and then you choose coordinating colours, and then you can these to come over a wee bit. Yeah, that'll do. Let's just go slide you back up a little bit so that we're not got the white showing. There we are. And then choose a different one for the front and the back. The alternative, of course, would be to choose colours that coordinate with your top image, and then just choose 4 coordinating colour pieces for the rest of it, or paint and stencil, or add stripes. I'm just too lazy to make stripes at the end of the day. That requires me to be measuring far too much activity. So that can sit there. Actually, that can sit there. We'll stick it over there, and then we can do the top, because in a minute that can be dry. We'll just blitz the inside of that. Not that that's going to particularly matter because we're going to have the other piece on. Right, so there we are. Let's go over there. Right, let's just find the edges of our masking tape. Pop those over on the side of my desk because they can all get used. There we are. To pull that little piece off there, that can go there. Stick that on the desk. I am using good quality masking tape. I find sometimes with paint products, the crafters ones are not so good. There we are. Oops, she says. So let's just glue this down, then we can let it all dry and file it off. There we are. Reasonable layer of decoupage glue and varnish onto here. There we are. Okay. Yeah, hey. I think that's probably reasonably symmetrical, because if the stripes being off will drive us all delay, won't it? Yeah, hey, I like it when a plan comes together. So let's just seal this in. So I'm having to put these stripes horizontally, which, you know, because the paper isn't wide enough to go in its landscape up and down direction. But that's also fine for this, it will work. There we are. Let's just add a bit more glue underneath there. There we are. Because it's the edges that need to be properly glued down, always. It's, if you're going to be in trouble, it'll be the edges that lift up. There we are. We don't want big blobs, but we do definitely want a nice layer. Okay, so now we don't want to pop that in there in that dirty water, because otherwise we'll be in a pickle. So let's just swap these around and let's just give this a good blitz. Oh dear, she says. There we are. So everything is drying quite quickly today. I might need to add a bit more glue under there. Let's shovel that onto there and we'll give this a good blast. Oh, let's just lift that off there. So the reason I have these rice papers is that ITD, every time they release their rice paper, their new collections, have a live video, and if you share it and comment and tag a friend in, they choose people each month to win that collection, and they send you a gift. So, oh dear, she says, well, that wasn't clever of you, woman. Then that's what happens when you rush things and don't let stuff dry properly. So let's just let this properly dry. So if you, I made a mess of this corner because it wasn't quite dry when I touched it. So we'll get it dry and it won't show long term. Because I've pushed it back together again. So they say that all you need to do is watch out for their lives and then like and comment, and you will eventually, well, you know, there's not so many people watch them. Now where is my sandpaper? There is my sandpaper. They will, there we are. They choose people, and they certainly manage to, although you can't buy from them in the UK directly from their website, they can certainly send to you from their website. I'm going to have to be slightly, yeah, that was silly, woman. You knew that that was going to happen. You knew that that would happen. So let's just sort that mess out and just be patient. Patience not being my virtue today, clearly. There we are. We might get some wax out at the end, you know. There we are. So let's just do to the side. There's a website, Julie, that you can get them from. The delivery is slow because they're ordered in every so often according to who's pre-ordered. They are absolutely stunning. There's a huge range of beautiful, beautiful papers. But as I say, just be aware that it's not some, you know, you can't do it. I think it's Maya's Memories and Rice Papers, but I'll send you the link if you want it. I do think that Crafty has some in, but I don't think she's been buying any of the recent ones in, because Joe Rowe has been selling those via via the Facebook page. So that's better, that's better, that's better, that's better. Cool. We're going to leave that one currently there. So we now need a piece of rice paper for the front. So that needs to be conveniently 24.1, Faith, 24.1 by 8 centimetres. You know. No problem, Julie, I can do that, my darling. I'll find it, because I have to say I haven't ordered from them via there for a long time, because I simply haven't needed to, because I've been lucky enough to win. I get probably from commenting on their launches 2 bundles a year. Yeah, I think 2 bundles a year, which is pretty cool, I reckon, for just liking a post. There we are. Thank you, darling, because I was just about to say, what was that measurement? Because I'm a numbskull. Because why wouldn't you be? There we are. So 24.1. As I say, the alternative for this is to cut them big and then file down, but that's, yeah, it's a bit for extra faffing, isn't it, really? Right, let's measure that accurately. 8 and don't blow away in the breeze. The breeze is much appreciated, but I don't need the paper flying off around the room. There we are. So that can go onto there. That can go onto there. Yeah, I think we'll go that way around. That blob is just paint, just more of the glue. It's not paint, so I can just pop that onto there. Because that's the right size, we won't need to worry about that. We might add some wax around the edges of the box, Julie, for having said no wax, but definitely no, I'm not intending putting wax on the mould. Going to need to file that because I haven't got that exactly in place, but it's covering the rest of it, so that will work. Let's just give that a little blow dry. Give that side that was irritating me a dry. Excellent. Hopefully I can now take that piece off there. Right, well, we'll just worry about that. We'll do a little bit of paint touching up or a little bit of paper touching up, and no one will be any the wiser. So I've made a mess in that corner. I'm literally just going to pop another piece of the rice paper over. There we are, and that will solve that problem. And that was completely my bad for just not being patient, essentially, and letting it dry properly before I added the you tried sanding it. If you try to sand wet rice paper, you will get yourself in a pickle. I know this, so why did I do it? There we are. So I went to go like that, and then I changed my mind because I really want that middle flourish to be pointing in an upwards direction. Totally a question of personal preference. There is definitely not a complete right or the complete wrong to that one. It is just the way my eyes prefer to see what's going on. So let's just straighten that up because we clearly haven't got that one on straight. There we are. That's better. And we'll just give that coat of varnish. So there's some bits that will need sanding off when it's dry, but that's okay. I can cope with that. There we are. That can go there. That can go there. I think that's all the rice paper gluing done. It certainly is a great thing with the rice paper. So that can now sit over there. Let's get the front and the back of you, and let's just give these edges a good blitz. I think the rice paper's lifted there too, but we'll worry about that in a minute. If I can get the bulk of it stuck down and edged, that will be cool. So this is the point, once it's all dry and sanded, where if you want you can add a shiny varnish, you could add a soft touch varnish, or you can leave it as it is, because the decoupage glue has its own varnish within it. So your choice really from that point of view. I feel the inside of there is still tacky, so that's not helping. There we are. Not completely dry, ladies, so just bear with while I'm just ever so quite little. So that's a piece that could be used. I will retrieve my gold wax in a minute and show you how I'm going to cover those edges, because I think it will work. And I know exactly, yeah, I know where all of my products are. I could just go back over and add in some more of the deluxe paste. That would also work around the edges, and bring that deluxe paste from the sides back up onto the top. Hey, it's hot in here today. That's not surprising really, is it? So I don't think we're going to be as hot as some parts of the country. There we are. See, I've managed, it's not dry there, so there we are. That was my bad, but that's not going to be a problem because I have a plan for the corners, thankfully. As I say, if you just left it to dry properly, then you wouldn't have that as an issue, because there we are. So, and again, it's not a problem. I can actually just paste in a piece of rice paper if I need to, but we'll resolve it, because actually knowing how to resolve problems or issues or things that you don't like is really quite a helpful trick. So before we do that, you see an almost empty pot of wax, and I'm going to take it down the sides onto the edges. And we'll see whether we need to do a little bit of paper patching. I suspect not. Oh, I suspect not. So we're going to pop that onto there. Hey, I like it when a plan comes together. And these I did earlier. There we are. So let's glue them in place. Have I got? Yes, that is the front of it. That's always helpful, isn't it? Have I got my gel medium out? No. Have I got 3,000 pots of gel medium? Of course, of course, of course. So this book, it's going to look very decadent on the top, isn't it? By the time we've got all of these pieces on here, it is going to look really, really decadent. There we are. So let's just pop that onto there. Add that onto there. If I was using glossy medium, I wouldn't need to clear this up, but I will be taking a brush to this and cleaning up that excess. No one will be any the wiser as to what I did to that paper. Right, before I glue those down, I'm just going to take some clean, clean water, and I can now just lift off that excess gel medium, because it dries milky, so I don't particularly want great big splodges of it showing. There we are. Easier to put, you could use tight, quick and thick tight bond, I guess, which I think that a lot of our American ladies do. There we are. And then we can centralise this piece in the middle. Yeah, I thought really long and hard before I bought this mould, because it is such a big piece, and I really am not sure how often, in reality, I will use it. That's just being completely honest. But I liked the corners, and there were, because there were 4 different styles of corners on it, I thought the corners would get used repeatedly for lots of different projects, and that's what swayed me to buy it. And it's also a proper silicone mould, not a plastic mould, which means that you can use hotter products in it. You could cast it, I think, in concrete, and it would look lovely as well. It's a bit big, I think, for a jewellery piece, but there we are. So let's just pop that into there. Pop that into there. I'm going to have to do a little bit of clean up. But that's okay. So the box is 9.5, so 4.5, 4 3/4 to the centre. Yeah, that'll do. That will do. And the swirly motifs in here, I think, will work with the swirly motifs on the front and the bag. Let me just get a little bit more clean water onto this brush, because the clean water just helps keep your, lift it up without gumming up your brush too much. And this is absolutely worth doing. So there we are. So that can go in there. That it surely has become a very statement piece, hasn't it? With that and that, let's get those into there. So that is the lid of the box, and it now needs to be left to dry. I need to finish off the waxing and the drying of this. So I don't need the lid on that, so I can lid that gel medium. Yeah, it's a very regal, very decadent piece overall, isn't it? And I just think, what I wanted to do is have a very decadent piece with this statement resin, but also I wanted to be able to use some different companies' products to the ones that I usually see, but also mix and match and go through some of the headaches and the issues that you have to, that we all come across, that we then have to think about how to fix and how to resolve. That bit's dry. I'm going to take my mitts off there before I make a mess of it for the third time. And we'll wax the sides, and I won't put the hardware back on until after the top is properly dried. Okay, we're doing well. So there we are. So let's just take that piece off there, and if I wanted to, I could add some metal feet quite happily into the corners and make it even more decadent, but for me I would absolutely have to find ones that were a perfect match to that doesn't need wax, that doesn't need wax, that doesn't need wax, that get rid of that. Ooh, that piece, what have I got onto there? She says. Okay, so that's not completely dry, so let's continue to dry this off rather than being difficult about it and trying to rush the process. I'd rather have a nicely finished piece rather than anything else. Right, okie dokie, so let's just now take, I might have to treat myself to a new pot of this, so I'm just going to add a little bit of wax on the top, down the side, down the bottom, just going to be careful there. Add that along the top. So the wax again is a good leveler of things, could cover it up. I think I might be about to put a pot of wax in the bin, because I might just have finished it. Haha, unheard of. It's not very often I put pots of wax in, empty wax pots in the bin. There we are. Needs a bit better of a file, so let me just and let's just file that down a little bit better than we currently have. There we are, and that's better. That's better. Okay. That's the back, that's the front, that's that. No, there's still several months of wax in there, so we won't be throwing that away. Yeah. Okay. So, I'm just going to hold that in place. I will put the hardware on, but not now. So that's the front. That's the side. There is the back. So by the time it's all dried and the hardware is on, I will have a truly decadent box. And I've used products that you don't very often see me doing, and in the process have destashed my pile of rice papers by 4. I'm optimistically thinking, aren't I? Because have I got several hundreds of the flipping things? Yeah, I have. because I'm lifted that up. I've now squidged gel medium where I don't want it, but there we are. There we are. There we are. There we are. So we're going to pop that there. Where's that nice dirty brush now? There we are. Clear that. Clear that. There we are. So, good evening, afternoon, Sarah, my darling. We're just finishing, my darling. We are literally just finishing. I just need my wipes. There we are. So I now have a beautiful, very rich, very regal, very luxurious box from a box that you could pick up relatively cheaply. Yes, I've used 1, 2, 3, 4 different rice papers. So it's not going to be a cheap box, but you've got eco-friendly packaging and a real treasure box for someone to love and and look after long term. You see, there we are. That's what happens. You just need to be patient and leave that gel medium to go. So, Stamperia moulds, a mould that might be otherwise neglected, I think, because it is such a statement piece. In clay, if you were using clay, you could definitely take this central piece out. I think it might be difficult to take the others, but you could cut and use half as a topper quite happily, and half if you cut it from clay, rather than using the whole piece. So you topped and bottomed a project with it. But that is it. So we have got a monochrome Bordeaux gold mix today. Gold is a neutral, classically monochrome black and white, but we've got 2 colours that work together to make a very luxurious piece. So hopefully, ladies, I will see some of you online for my Pentart live on Tuesday. The lives for the next 4 weeks have been added, 3 weeks have been added to the Pentart live, so there's a whole collection of different things planned. So I would very much appreciate it if you join me watching some of those lives in the near future. And in the meantime, please, ladies, stay safe with whatever you're doing, and I hope to see you online soon. Bye.